Congruent angles, vertical angles, finding angle measures. Let's start with congruent angles. Two angles are congruent if they have the same measure. So let's say we have a 45-degree angle here, and we have a 45-degree angle here. These angles are congruent because they have the same measure. Now, when we have intersecting lines, we are now getting into vertical angles because a vertical angle is just formed when two opposite angles by the intersection of two lines meet. So I said that stupidly. Congruent angles, vertical angles, finding angle measures. Let's start with congruent angles. Two angles are congruent if they have the same measure. So if we have a 45-degree angle here and a 45-degree angle here, these angles are congruent because they have the same measure. They're both 45 degrees. Now, vertical angles are formed by the intersection of two lines. So if we have two lines here, these angles, vertical angles, are the opposite angles formed. So let's say we have this angle and this angle. Those are vertical angles because they are opposite. And then we have this angle and this angle. So that means that angles 1, let's label these, angles 1 and 3 are vertical angles, but they are also congruent. So angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles, and because they're vertical, they are also congruent. Angles 4 and angles 2 are also vertical angles, and because they're vertical angles, they are also congruent. Let's look at a few angles or examples about finding angle measures. So let's say we have this angle here, and we have an 85-degree angle, and we have x degree angle. So we want to find the value of x. Well, we know that we have this 180-degree line here, and we have our 85-degree angle, but we want to find out the angle of x. Well, because we know that the sum of these angles are going to be 180, the equation we're going to use is 180 equals 85 degrees plus x. And once we do that, we can simply solve using a one-step equation. We subtract 85 from each side, and we are left with 95 equals x. So x equals 95 degrees, and these angles are supplementary because they add up to 180 degrees. What about this one? We see here that we want to know what x degrees is. Now, because we have vertical angles here, we know that whatever angle this is this angle as well. Now we see here this little red square that represents a 90-degree angle. So if this angle is 90 degrees, that means x also equals 90 degrees because it's congruent with its vertical angle. Here we see another 90-degree angle, and we want to solve what x is. So let's say this is 69 degrees, and this is x degrees. Well, we know that this angle is going to be complementary because they add up to 90 degrees. So we're going to use the equation 90 degrees equals 69 degrees plus x. Then we subtract 69 from each side in order to solve for x. And we are left with 21 equals x. So x equals 21 degrees.